FIFA has 211 member nations, more than the United Nations.
And right now, one man controls all of it. A man nobody elected. A man nobody can fire. This is his story. His name is Gianni Infantino. And last week he stood in front of cameras and told the world that $11,000 World Cup tickets are completely reasonable.
150 million ticket requests means that if you think that in 100 years of almost 100 years.
The crowd didn't laugh, because they know he doesn't have to care what you think. FIFA generates $11 billion every 4 years. It pays zero corporate income tax. And Infantino, who runs this nonprofit, paid himself $4.67 million last year. A 33% raise. In the same year, fans were paying $11,000 a ticket. But here's what nobody is talking about. The salary isn't even the story. The ethics committee he buried isn't even the story. The $1 billion Saudi deal isn't even the story. The story is how one man quietly built a system so airtight that even when the whole world is watching, nothing can touch him. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how he did it and why it will never stop. To understand how Infantino got here, you have to go back to the moment the door opened. FIFA is burning. The FBI has just arrested 14 officials at a Zurich hotel at 6 in the morning. Sepp Blatter, who ran FIFA for 17 years, resigns in disgrace. Swiss prosecutors are investigating $150 million in suspicious payments. The most powerful sports organization on Earth has just been exposed as a criminal enterprise. The entire world is watching. Sponsors are nervous. Governments are threatening oversight. For the first time in decades, FIFA is vulnerable. FIFA needs a savior. Fast. Enter Gianni Infantino, General Secretary of UEFA, a lawyer, a backroom administrator who had spent his career drafting contracts and sitting in meetings nobody remembers. Not a footballer, not a public figure. A Swiss bureaucrat. He campaigns on reform, transparency, clean hands. He promises to publish all executive salaries. He promises independent oversight. He promises, and this is the line everyone remembers, to give football back to the people. The football world, desperate for anyone who wasn't Blatter, believes him. February 2016, Infantino wins the election in the first round, and the world exhales. Finally, a clean pair of hands. Someone who gets it. Someone who will fix this, except within 6 months of taking office, Infantino was already under criminal investigation. But here's what's strange. It didn't end the way you'd expect. It didn't end with charges. It didn't end with resignation. It ended with the committee investigating him, quietly disappearing. And to understand how that happened, you need to understand one meeting. A secret meeting with no records, no agenda, and no witnesses. Shortly after taking power, it emerged that Infantino had been holding private meetings with Switzerland's Attorney General, Michael Lauber, the same man running the criminal investigation into FIFA corruption. No records were kept of these meetings, no official agenda, no minutes, no witnesses. Just two men, meeting privately, multiple times, while one of them was supposed to be investigating the organization the other one ran. When this became public, Swiss prosecutors didn't just raise an eyebrow. They launched a formal criminal inquiry into both men. FIFA's independent ethics committee, the watchdog set up specifically after the Blatter corruption scandal to hold FIFA leadership accountable, opened its own investigation into Infantino. This is the moment. If FIFA's new governance actually worked, if the reform era was real, this is where it proves itself. A president under criminal investigation resigns. The ethics committee does its job. The organization holds itself accountable. Instead, Infantino got to work. Over the following months, FIFA's governance structure was quietly reorganized. The ethics committee's investigatory powers were reduced. Key members were replaced with people more aligned with the president's office. The chair leading the investigation, a respected Swiss lawyer named Claudia Rojas, was eventually pushed out entirely. Before leaving, she said the proceedings had been marked by, and I'm quoting directly here, interference and obstruction. Think about that. the head of the committee set up to investigate the president, saying publicly that she faced obstruction, and nothing happened. The investigation into Infantino was closed. FIFA announced he was cleared. The man being investigated had restructured the committee investigating him. No charges, no resignation, not even a formal reprimand. And with that obstacle gone, Infantino didn't slow down, he accelerated. Because he'd learned something important, something that would define the next decade of his presidency. The rules only apply to you if someone else has the power to enforce them, and Infantino was about to make sure nobody ever would. In 2023, Gianni Infantino did something no FIFA president had ever done before. He moved to Saudi Arabia, not for a summit, not for a week-long conference. He relocated. His home base is now Riyadh. His family is there, his life is there. Now, why would the president of FIFA, an organization headquartered in Zurich, Switzerland, decide to move to Saudi Arabia? To answer that, you need to understand what Saudi Arabia was doing at exactly that moment. Saudi Arabia, since 2023, is running the most aggressive sports washing operation in history. Live Golf. $400 million to pry the world's top golfers away from the PGA Tour. Newcastle United. $400 million takeover, turning a mid-table Premier League club into a state project overnight. Formula One race in Jeddah, world heavyweight boxing, tennis tournaments. They are systematically buying into every major sport on Earth. The goal isn't sport, the goal is image. Every handshake with a world-class athlete, every trophy lifted in Riyadh, every broadcast beamed into 200 countries. It softens the international perception of a government that has faced serious human rights criticism. Sport is the vehicle. Legitimacy is the destination. And the president of the organization that controls the world's most popular sport just moved there. Shortly after the relocation, the deals start arriving. FIFA creates a brand new top-tier sponsor category, a category that didn't exist before, exclusively for Saudi Aramco, the Saudi state oil company. This new category puts Aramco above every existing FIFA sponsor for the 2026 World Cup and the 2025 Club World Cup. Then, the $1 billion deal. FIFA signs a memorandum of understanding with the Saudi Fund for Development. $1 billion for football infrastructure globally, administered through FIFA. Infantino announces it personally, standing next to Saudi officials in Riyadh. Then, the biggest move of all. The 2034 World Cup, awarded to Saudi Arabia. The decision was effectively made before any real competitive bidding process opened. Australia had expressed interest in bidding. FIFA's own human rights advisors raised concerns about worker conditions, LGBT+ rights, and freedom of the press. None of it mattered. Infantino's response to every critic who raised these concerns? He called them, and I'm quoting, hypocritical. He said engagement was better than isolation. What he did not say was how much Saudi money was now flowing into FIFA's budget and into the personal empire he was quietly building around himself. What Infantino understood, almost better than anyone, is that Saudi money doesn't just buy influence, it buys permanence. When a government with sovereign wealth funds worth over $700 billion is your primary partner, you stop worrying about ethics committees. You stop worrying about Swiss prosecutors. You stop worrying about what the fans think. Because you have something more powerful than all of that. You have money that never runs out, backing that never disappears, and a partner who needs you just as much as you need them. The only question left is what Infantino did with that security. And the answer is on his pay stub. Let's put the full picture on the table. Because this is where everything comes together. FIFA, registered nonprofit, Zurich, Switzerland, zero corporate income tax. Every 4 years, $11 billion in revenue, from broadcast rights, sponsorships, hospitality, and ticket sales. That money, by FIFA's own stated mission, is supposed to go toward developing football globally. Grassroots pitches in Africa, youth academies in Southeast Asia, infrastructure in nations that can't fund it themselves. In 2023, Gianni Infantino paid himself $4.67 million. Let me give you some context on that number. The CEO of the entire English Premier League, one of the richest sports leagues on earth, earns $2.3 million. The president of UEFA earns $3.26 million. The commissioner of the NFL earns around $20 million. But the NFL is a for-profit business, generating $20 billion a year. Infantino earns more than the Premier League CEO and the UEFA president combined. From a non-profit, that pays no tax. And this wasn't always the number. In 2022, he earned $3.1 million. In 2023, he gave himself a 33% raise, adding over $1.5 million to his own salary in a single year. The year fans were paying $11,000 to watch football. Now here's the part where it gets truly cold. When Pep Guardiola, the most decorated manager in world football, goes on camera and says football belongs to the fans, not corporations.
Everyone travel all around the globe, from other continents to see your country, to play there, and everything was affordable.
When U.S. senators write open letters demanding FIFA lower prices. When Football Supporters Europe, the largest fan organization in the world, calls the ticket system extortionate and demands FIFA halt sales. Infantino calls a press conference and says the prices are completely justified. Because he can. There is no board that can fire him, no government with jurisdiction over him, no shareholder demanding accountability, no election he can actually lose. Because the 211 associations that technically vote for him all depend on FIFA development money to survive. And Infantino controls that money. They vote for him. Because they have to. This isn't corruption the way we used to understand it. There are no FBI raids coming for Infantino. No envelopes of cash under the table, and it's something cleaner. And in some ways, far more dangerous. It's a perfectly legal empire. Built inside a non-profit, backed by sovereign wealth, and run by one man who spent a decade making sure nobody, not an ethics committee, not a prosecutor, not a fan organization, not a senator, could ever touch him. Here's the part that stays with you long after this video ends. Football is the only sport that truly belongs to the entire world. Every country plays it. Every culture claims it. It crosses language, religion, politics, poverty, wealth. It doesn't matter if you're in Brazil or Bangladesh or Boston. You understand a football match. That universality is worth billions, and FIFA owns it. The fans in those stands, the ones who saved for years, who flew across oceans, who painted their faces and memorized the songs, they believe they are the reason the game exists. They're right, they are the reason. But they don't own it. They are the product. Their passion is what makes the broadcast rights worth $4.7 billion. Their loyalty is what makes the sponsorship deals worth $2.4 billion. Their desperate, unshakable need to be there, even in the stadium, not watching on a screen, is what makes a ticket worth $11,000. FIFA didn't create that passion. Billions of people across generations created it. FIFA just figured out how to own it. And Gianni Infantino, the Swiss lawyer nobody had heard of in 2015, figured out how to own FIFA. He didn't steal football. He understood something the fans never did, that the game was always for sale. He just got there first. We are Meta Ledger. If this video made you angry, good. That means you're paying attention.